about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.
So day two, before we went through with day two, I did talk to the current owner, and there is some wiggle room on the price to accommodate anything we kind of find. I'm going to hook up power. I brought some bigger cords. We'll hook up power again and see if we can get the breaker not to trip. We'll try and get the fridge going. I brought propane. We can test out the furnace and the stove and oven and the fridge on propane and electric, and then we'll see if we still want to move forward.
You should tell people about that course you took.
Oh yeah, I did take an online course through RV Self-Inspection. Tim was the fellow's name. We'll put a link below. Really good, thorough information in there if you're buying an RV on your own and you don't want to get an inspection done or do some preliminary things before you do get an inspection, because there's a lot of things you can kind of eliminate yourself and maybe make some preliminary decisions on. So super advice. We'll link it below, and yeah, we'll see what happens here. I'm going to try lighting the stove.
Look at that, everybody.
4-burner stove. We've digressed a little bit in our RV stoves over the years.
I'd say. The rigs got bigger and the stoves got smaller.
Yeah.
Does it take a little while for the propane to get through the lines?
Yeah, I just put a new bottle on, so it does take a little while. But it sounds like it's going to work. And once it's lit once, it will light easier the next time. And there is a pilot system on this. It's not electronic. There we go. It is important when you're doing that to have a flame on it all the time. Otherwise you don't know when the propane's actually there, and you could fill the space with propane. But if there's an ignition source there, as soon as there's propane, it should light. And the next one should light much easier. Front. There we go.
Nice. Okay, so we know the propane lines are good. We just need to get new tanks.
Yeah. So we're going to try lighting the fridge on propane. In order to do that, I switch this to gas or LPG. And then this actually has an auto igniter, which is there. But in order to get it to the gas to go to the pilot, I have to push this. And it may take a little while because I just put a new tank on. And when it lights, the igniter will stop going. And then I just got to hold this long enough that the temperature sensor heats up. And then it should run after that. So we'll see. Again, the first go with that new propane tank, there's probably a little bit of line that needs to be purged as well. So it might take a little bit of time.
I do remember back when we owned it that this often took time.
Mm-hmm. And once it's been lit, as long as there's propane in the system, it doesn't take near as long. There we go. If I let go of this too soon, the thermocouple doesn't get hot enough and it'll shut the gas off again. And then this would continue to flash. So I'll let it go. It appears to be running. So we'll let that run for an hour or so, see if those fins cool off. If they do, then it's working. I'll probably need to just blow out the behind the back cover, but it wasn't too bad.
Also, though, so this will mean that the fridge is functional and the gas is functional, but we still haven't sorted out the electrical.
Yeah, and this fridge will run on electric too, but it was the breaker, or something was tripping the breaker that we're plugged into yesterday. So I'm hoping we can get that figured out, make sure this runs on AC as well, because that's super handy, especially when you're plugged in somewhere.
Plus, we also know that fridges are a source of fire.
They are.
And
yeah.
we want to make sure that this fridge is functioning properly in all capacities.
Yes, correct. Furnace, I guess, is the next thing that would run on propane. Okay, so we're going to try the furnace. This is actually pretty high tech. It's auto light.
For back in the day. Remember,
Exactly.
28 years have passed.
The thermostat has an on-off switch. Basically, you turn that on and set the temperature above what the room temperature is. And theoretically, it should light itself and the fan run and the furnace go. So we'll see if that happens. It's not instant.
I'm not hearing anything.
There it is. There's
And
ducting there. And there's ducting under the table in the front. So the fan went. It sounded like it just lit. And there's no warm air yet, but theoretically it should get warm. It's not even that loud, really.
it's not really.
Yeah. There's the exhaust. Exhaust is hot. Yeah. All things considered, not too bad.
And that's the fridge.
This is the fridge. So we think the fridge is running on propane, but it hasn't been that long, but it's not getting cold. I just want to make sure the burner's working, so I'm going to take a few covers off.
I'd like to show you guys in the meantime this beautiful striping. Very indicative of a 92 Prowler. If you ever
It is.
see that, you'll know what year.
Ever
You see?
since 92, we always get excited when we see this coming because we know what it probably looks like inside.
And you know that I know exactly what the floor plan is, right?
Especially if it has 2 doors and it's about this length.
22H.
Yeah.
What do you see?
I see a chimney that's hot, so it is lit for sure. If I take this cover off, I think I can see
Where
that.
does the exhaust blow out of this for the...
I believe it's out the roof.
Oh, up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and look at that. I can see the flame right there. Okay, so it's just probably needing a little
It just
more time.
takes time. Like, I don't think fridges get cold in minutes. I think it's hours, maybe half a day. I think it is a little quicker on propane than it is electric usually.
I do remember in the old days that I would put ice and stuff in there.
To get it started, or get it cold quicker, yeah. We're just gonna try plugging this in and see that the lights work. I see there's a little bit of road rash on this. I'd like to blame it on a previous owner, maybe 10 years ago or so, where it fell out of the plug and dragged for a while. It happens.
That's not okay.
Okay, we're plugged. I'll turn some lights on. Try the signals, brake lights. Signal.
Oh, yeah. But yeah.
There's that one, 117. The other one, 117. You want to note there's no USB here.
Oh, no.
That's kind of weird, eh?
If we get this and we get her all cleaned up and back together, I'll take you guys on a tour.
She's a beaut. So lights seem to work, although the back is in direct sunlight, so it's hard to see. I mean, you can see the signals are on, but how bright they are, I don't know. We'll check that in different lighting. But everything, driving lights and signal lights and brake lights seem to work, so that's a plus.
Okay, what's the plan now?
Well, I think we'll go to the local automotive repair shop here and see what it would cost to change tires, check brakes, and do the bearings.
And he could help us with the hot water heater.
Yeah, he does a lot of RV stuff too, so he'd have an idea what that's going to cost and what it would take to replace that, should we need to.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. after talking to the mechanic, repair guy, he said that if the Freon, which is in these coils up here, if it's circulating, these coils will be hot and the fridge should be working. Now, these coils here, when I touch them, I can keep my fingers on them, but they're hot. Like, I couldn't keep my fingers on them for very long. So that's another indication that the fridge is working, at least on propane. We'll go back inside and check the cooling fins one more time and see if it's cooler in there than outside.
Day 3, we're back. What happened was that the fridge is working in every aspect, gas, electric, we hear it running, the great things are warming up, but it wasn't cooling off. So we left it overnight, plugged in, and as we think, running. So if it's cold, we're going to be very happy. So let's go in and check this out. Squish in here. Come on. Come on. Okay. Okay.
It's going to be good.
Okay, first things, I can hear the power is still on and running. You guys ready? There's going to be like a whoosh of cold air.
A whoosh of cold air.
Ready?
Whoosh.
Oh no.
No.
I mean, slightly maybe? Put your hand in there. I mean, there is some coldness,
It's not real cold.
but it ain't real cold.
Try the
I want to
freezer.
try the freezer. Shoot! Freezer is colder.
Is it? I wonder if we needed to turn it up. Although you would think it would be colder than that, right?
Overnight.
Yeah.
Ah! I don't know. I mean, it's been running all night.
Right. There's still hope yet.
Yeah. All right, we're back again. When we were here last, we were a bit disappointed because the fridge was not as cold as we had hoped it would have been after leaving it overnight. We did some Googling and found out a few things, and so we are leaving it a bit longer. What I want to talk about, though, is an emotional response to things and really wanting something and really doing everything you can to find a way to justify it. And when you're looking at a used RV, and I know you want it and I know it's great, but if there's a lot of red flags pointing you in the direction of this is going to cost money and this is going to be realistic about that. So I know it seems like, why haven't we walked away from this yet? And if this were any other RV, we wouldn't have spent any more time on it and we would have been gone. But the truth of the matter is this does have an emotional attachment for us. That is worth something. The question is how much. So yes, we are getting into this in an emotional way, but that's worth something to us and we're gonna end up paying something for that. And I don't just mean in the price, I mean in time and energy and trouble and those kinds of things. But unless you have something like that going on the side, you should have left this by now. Right?
Probably. I mean,
and the truth of the matter is, everything that we've learned, there are things we could do to this fridge and get it back up to snuff, and maybe we'll do that. But again, I want to caution you to don't just talk yourself into something that doesn't sound like a good idea. See the red flags for what they are and decide where you fit in that and what you're willing to do. And of course, the price had better be getting knocked down for everything you find. It is a used old RV. So that's where we're at. We're definitely looking at knocking the price down. We're looking at, is there repairs we can do, and are they worth our time and energy?
and if you have the time and you can knock the price down so that you can cover those, then it may still be a go.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back in again. Fingers crossed that this is gonna work. We brought a thermometer this time too, so we'll give it a go. Let's go. Come on.
All right, so final verdict, the fridge doesn't work. We've tried everything we can with the fridge in place, ran it for another night, and it's still not cold. So I've talked to the owner. We've come up with a purchase price, working in the fact that we may need to replace the fridge. We'll likely need to replace the fridge. So we're going to buy it. We're going to hook it up. We'll take it to the shop. I got some plumbing I want to fix. we'll pull the fridge and we'll do this technique to it, see if that works. If it doesn't, then we're either getting a new cooling system for that fridge or buying a new fridge, which is quite expensive scenario.
So you think that we have checked enough things, we've learned enough about it, we've negotiated the price down to handle all of that?
Yeah, I think that we can manage the things that we may be confronted with over the next couple of weeks, getting this thing ready to go.
All right, next.
Let's get her hooked up.
Okay. Got it?
Oh yeah. Old school.
No, folks, it does not have an electric jack.